spotlight on us.
All right, everybody. Welcome to episode 2
Yes, sir.
of the Hip Hop is Life, part of the. Bring that back. Is that
It's live.
Hip Hop is
so,
Life? It's live.
Yeah.
So we ain't going back.
Nah, you can't edit.
So the Project Mirror podcast,
yes, sir.
and this is the Hip Hop is Life, episode 2, where we're going to delve into again the effects of hip hop on our culture as Black people. You know, hip hop is a culture within itself, but of course it has such a significant influence now, not only on Black Americans, but Blacks throughout the world, people throughout the world. So, you know, we also going to delve into future episodes on the influence of course, the Hispanic culture. They had a huge part in the hip hop culture, and then the white culture. We're going to delve into that as well, and then other parts of the world, we're going to delve into that. But today, we're going to go into how hip hop affects masculinity.
Oh,
Mm.
yeah.
And are we overly masculine, or the proper term would be hypermasculine because of hip hop? Is hip hop an influence within that? You know, are we overly masculine? Chris, what you think about that? Are we overly masculine?
Yeah. I think to a certain extent we need to tone it down some. But everybody's different definition of a masculine man. You know what I'm saying? You ask 10 different men, you might get 10 different answers. But at the heart of it all, is love. Basically, you know what I'm saying? Is love. Some people think love is soft. Some people think love is non-existent. But everybody loves something and someone. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You might not love everybody, but that one person you love. So you've experienced love, and you know what love is. It's just a lot of people, especially in hip hop, is scared to show love because they think people would take advantage of you. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because I show this person so much love. I show you. The heart is probably the strongest muscle we have. So the heart can take a lot. It's just you have to channel your love, your energy, in the right directions. I think a lot of times people in relationships, their emotions and feelings get hurt, you know what I'm saying, before their heart does. Because you can love again, you can keep loving, you know what I'm saying? It's just your emotions. Once your emotions get taken advantage of, you feel that's love, emotions, they're kind of in the same race, but they're not the same.
So you think that cats today in hip hop, the younger generation that has a grip on hip hop and doing their thing with hip hop right now, do you think that they're showing love through other ways? Because it's not like LL Cool J's back in the day. He made the "I Need Love," right?
Yeah.
When I'm alone in my room, sometimes I stare at the wall, and in the back of my mind, I hear my conscience call. And he wasn't afraid to go in and tell a woman that he loved them, but at the same time, let everybody know that he was from farmers, and you know what I mean. He was he grew up he grew up around that life.
Yeah. So there's nothing wrong with repping your hood and and showing love and to your folks. You know what I'm saying? People that watch you come up, and people that helped you when you needed help. There's nothing wrong. Master P, I think, is one of the good dudes that actually show a lot of his artists love. I don't think I remember Charlemagne the Guy was talking about one of his artists. I think it was the girl Mercedes he had, and Charlemagne was like, he was popping off, and I know, she hasn't been out since like the 90s, but Master P was like, hold on, yo, that's family. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's you don't you don't see like a Puff doing that to his artists, besides Big or anybody like that. So I think people do show love, but I think this generation definition of love is materialistic. If I buy you Jordans or if I buy you something, that's I love you. You know what I'm saying? And I think they got it twisted. I don't think they know what true love is, because I think true love stopped at our generation. And now you got people in their 40s, and I catch flack for it when I talk about it, but it's the truth. Our community, we got to stop celebrating being grandparents at like 35 and 40 years old.
Absolutely.
And because at 35 and 40, sometimes and 50 even, sometimes you still figuring stuff out.
Absolutely.
You don't got all the answers to life, and you don't got everything, so you're still trying to figure it out. So while you're figuring it out, you got grandkids and kids that you still got to raise.
Yeah. Some of us have what I call made that mistake. And a lot of people say, well, it's not a mistake. Yeah, it was a mistake. I didn't mean for that to happen.
Yeah.
And but generationally, my children and other people's children will ultimately pay for it. Because if I would have took the time to put them in a better position, my generation would have been better. My children would have been better. Yeah. Grandchildren would have been better. Great grandchildren and generations to come. But I think nowadays, with the hip hop influence, I think what's happened is, since we're talking about generational effects and cyclical effects, what has happened is we had rappers such as Schoolie D back in the day who wasn't afraid to talk about what he felt about doing about two women. And then came groups like NWA, gangster rap, and things of that nature, and we totally started degrading women. We were speaking from our heart. Maybe I don't know those men, so maybe something happened within their home and their mother treated them a certain way. You know what I mean? Or their sister treated them a certain way, so they started to talk like that about women. But I know nowadays, fast forward over 30 years later, now you have this generation of young men and young women that are coming up in the game, and they are showing love in a way that's not effective. It's not, when people use that word sustainable, it's not going to be sustainable. That's not the type of love that's sustainable. So if I tell you, yo, I want to hit that, ASS or whatever have you, instead of saying, and I meet you over here for a second, buy you some dinner, and talk to you, have a conversation like we used to do back in the day. It doesn't necessarily take away from your masculinity, but that's the way that people have gotten used to showing how masculine they are. So that's the way. So now, because even growing up for us, there were certain things you couldn't do because you look soft. You know what I mean? There's a couple words we can use from back in the day where people would call you soft, directly and indirectly. Poo putt, stuff like that used to come. You know what I mean? Yeah. You soft, you a herb, whatever have you. It's certain things that you couldn't do or you would get called soft. And so we didn't do it because we adhered to the culture. And that's what we're here to talk about. Like, what are cats doing today to where they're adhering to the culture to where they don't recognize it now? But when they get to be in their late 30s, 40s, 50s, and things of that nature, they're going to look back and say, you know what, maybe I made the wrong decision in acting the way I acted or saying the things that I said on record or to women. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But the culture is there a culture?
It is it's always a culture.
Yeah.
One of my sayings is, if you don't learn to play the game going to play you, because the game is being played.
Yeah.
Period.
And
Go ahead, dog. My man Dog back there on the boards, man. We in his spot. Just so y'all know, the last episode we were real gumshoe with it. We were real gumshoe with it, and then my man invited us to come into his spot. And this is amazing, man. When I tell you, my man has 100 different cameras over here that he uses, and I feel like I'm on something really professional, man.
You are.
Yeah, yes, I am. Absolutely am. And I just thank you so much, man. But we let him know that this is not just us and Chris. This is us. So Dog is back there. He's not on camera, but please, Dog, what were you going to say, brother?
Well, Totally said, do y'all think the 1980s music were better than the 1990s music like R&B and hip hop?
I think that that's a matter of perspective, but from my perspective, yes and no. If I had, that's a tough one because the 80s birthed me. The 80s birthed me. So I grew up listening to 80s hip hop, and that was like the essence of R&B and hip hop. You know what I mean? But then in the 90s, how could you say that it wasn't as good or better because you had the queen of hip hop soul that was birthed in the 90s, which was Mary J. Off the backs of other artists, off the backs of like the Roxanne Shantays and the Queen Latifahs and the rappers that were out that time.
And she was still riding a bus when You Remind Me was out.
Yeah. But I think the content changed dramatically from the 80s to the 90s because of crack and a lot of other stuff that popped on the scene. And as we know, because we me and my cousin, we debated it before. There was something put out that hip hop was altered in the early 90s by the industry to go more gangster, to go more derogatory than it was to go more positive. That's why, in like what we say, like NWA era, that's when the early 90s, 92, like everything just changed. It switched.
Stuff was happening.
That's when BITCH became popular, hoes, and but also, to what you alluded to earlier about them calling ladies, if you conduct yourself accordingly, and you think of yourself highly, I don't think what they say can
hinder you.
Exactly. Hinder you, control you, or give you a negative thought about yourself. I think, girls wanting money and wanting that finer things in life and doing anything to get it.
It all started with the door knocker earrings.
Yeah, but you know what? The door knocker earrings, the gold, that was like fashion. You know what I'm saying? That was like our accessories to our clothes, because blacks, Puerto Ricans, we love our clothes. So the chains and the earrings was just accessories, but it's how you attained it now. A lot of women started going, because like I said, crack jumped on the scene in the 80s, late 80s, and money became power, and the men had the power and the women wanted the power, so they was doing anything to get that, you know what I'm saying, or be down with that. So
you remember the 8-ball jackets?
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
To be honest, my nephew just got one for Christmas this year.
Wow.
From Portobello's. We went down to Portobello's on 125th, right next to the Apollo. He saw it, he wanted it.
Oh my God, it's been around for
wow.
Yeah. So I mean, get back on subject, with love, and again, material things became love,
True.
Material things became love. The Dapper Dan suits. You had to have matching Dapper Dan suits with your girl. You had to buy the earring, the gold ropes. So the cars, and that became the tools to get the women. And that is what we was dangling in front of the women to carry it. You know what I'm saying? Dangling it in front of, and they fell for it. And it's been like that ever since. Oh, I gotta get this bag. It's all about the bag. Where your morals at, yo? You know what I'm saying?
But does it play? It plays right into the storyline of what a woman would do to impress a man and what a man would do to impress a woman, you know, because everything is microscopic of an environment. So when you look into a home, that's the seed where it starts. So you have a man and a woman. When you breed outside into the community, you still have that man and that woman, but they're doing different things to impress each other. You know what I mean? So a man was doing certain things like pulling up with the, you know, the Saab 900, you know what I mean? And things of that nature. And then you had the woman who was doing what she had to do to get the bag back in the day, all so they can impress the man. When, like you said, when crack hit, people started getting money in the ghetto. Yeah, and this is what happened. This is now it changed and it flipped the culture, right? So now you have a culture where there's a lot more opportunity out there, and we have this privileged mindset, you know, to where we feel entitled to certain things. So we feel as if we have to go out and do certain things to get these certain things, where there's a lot more other avenues out there to obtain, you know, the materialism that they have to obtain that will, you know, once again, it will sustain the materialism that you have, but we're still mimicking the behaviors of those from the 80s. And a lot of it is right in the hip hop. So you have hip hop artists who are in their 40s, 50s now, who haven't touched a street corner or a drug in over 30 years, but they still getting on record and talking about it.
Like, for instance, Totally has said, how do y'all feel about Jay-Z being on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with LL Cool J in the wrestling? I'm going to answer that one real quick.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Personally, all right, I am from Bedford-Stuyvesant, and I think that Jay-Z earned that. I think he earned it because I used to see him hanging outside my school waiting for them little girls. He was doing the R. Kelly thing. Jay-Z, don't sue me, okay? But the thing is that, yeah, I think that he deserved that. I mean, the dude struggled. And personally, with us talking about the hip-hop era, if Biggie didn't die, if Tupac didn't die, if Nas didn't drop the ball, Jay-Z wouldn't be who he is right now. Because Jay-Z only had 2-3 songs that everybody liked. Okay, Nas was next in line. But the thing about Jay-Z is Jay-Z dropped the ball when it came down to youngsters that was just like him. Because there's a lot of kids that looked up to him, believe it or not, because he was the ones that got away in that neighborhood. You know, so
from hearing people talk, you know, Jay was kind of a, I don't want to say hater.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know what I'm saying? They say he didn't, you know, Irv Gotti, you know, talk heavily about, you know, Jay-Z, like, you know, one day he's sounding like DMX, next day he's sounding like XYZ or Big Daddy Kane or...
See, Big Daddy Kane was a guy who Jay-Z get his style from anyway. So did Biggie. But at the same time, Jay-Z, when you look at how he came up, he didn't have a style. Okay, because
totally agree.
Again, when you look at Biggie, when you look at Tupac, and when you look at Nas, those three were the heavy hitters back in those times. Jay-Z survived because 2 died and 1 dropped the ball.
How did Nas drop the ball?
Nas fell off for a second.
Nas fell off.
Nas fell off for a second.
Because you know what? But you know what? The good thing about Nas is he could go out and he could come back. So that's...
How is that falling off? I call it reinventing yourself.
Well, it's not. Well, you know what? And when you say falling off, we're not looking at it as a bad thing. I know I'm not looking at it as a bad thing.
You're a Nas fan.
I'm a hip hop fan because I could say some positive and negative about Nas. I could say some positive and negative about Hove. You know what I mean? But you know, people that know me know that, you know, Nas is my dude. He fell off.
Nas, I'm gonna tell you something. When you have Okay, first off, Tupac getting on, because this has a lot to do with what's going on right now with these youngsters adopting that Chicago style. Mm-hmm. Nobody has their own style anymore at all. Mm-hmm. And that's why a lot of these kids is killing each other. Because they rap about a song and then die tomorrow. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, Tupac made Biggie relevant. Mm-hmm. He made Nas not relevant. Mm-hmm. He didn't talk about Jay-Z like that. Mm-hmm. He made Mobb Deep relevant. Mm-hmm. Now, after those two guys died, the reason why I say Nas dropped the ball is because, for one, Nas had a couple of hits, but then it's like I'm going to just say he got lazy, so to speak. Mm-hmm. That gave Jay-Z time to push his way in. I'm telling you, Jay-Z wouldn't have been nothing if Nas would have kept pushing.
Okay, so if you're saying that Tupac made Nas relevant, I think that Jay-Z made Nas super relevant when he called him out. Because what Jay-Z did was wake up the sleeping giant. You know what I mean? It's like when
I agree with that.
Bob Backlund bought Hulk Hogan out and called him out back in the day. I'm going back there. I'm going back there, showing my age. You know what I mean? And he bought Hulk Hogan. And look where Hulk Hogan at to this day, at 90,000 years old to this day, because Bob Backlund called him out.
I remember, that's my favorite wrestler, actually.
Bob Backlund? Wow. So I went there. So when I think Nas fell asleep for a little bit, he started making songs like that song with Genuine, which I can't stand. You know what I mean? I can't stand it. And when Hov called him out, he bought something out of him, and I compared Nas to like a Floyd Mayweather. You know what I mean? Floyd had the seed in him of being the greatest boxer because he had it in him. But if he wasn't around Roger and his father, who knows where he would have been. And if certain life experiences wouldn't have called him out, who knows? Nas always had the seed in him to be that hip hop golden boy, that golden child. But you need adversity.
But see,
you need adversity.
See, you know what? Not to cut you off, brother.
Mm-hmm. No, it's all good. We converse.
Now, I give a lot of credit to Nas. And the reason why I give a lot of credit to Nas is because Nas he's the only artist nowadays that's doing what Public Enemy did. Because Public Enemy had dope beats and they had knowledge in what they were saying. Mm-hmm. Now, if you listen to his new album that he just brought out, I'm speechless.
Magic.
I'm going to just say he brought rap, hip-hop back. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm going to say. Mm-hmm. And if a lot of these younger kids will listen to what he has to say.
But see, that's great point. Mm-hmm. Great point. But these kids don't want knowledge these days. Yo.
A lot of these kids, they don't want knowledge
because they making the money. A lot of these kids the money has become. As long as I can make XYZ, I don't need knowledge.
See, I'm gonna give you a prime example.
You need it, but they're not into knowledge no more, man.
I'm gonna give you a prime example of a rapper who's from Chicago, and he's actually doing the opposite of what these other rappers are doing.
You talking about Chance?
No, I'm talking about Lil Durk. Lil Durk owns a trucking company.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. This man is like doing things with himself, and a lot of these kids should follow by example. He's not dissing the dead anymore, from what I understand. and I'm gonna tell you another thing. The major problem is a lot of these, I ain't gonna say OGs, a lot of these old heads is trying to be like these young heads. Mm-hmm. And that's why these kids is being misled. Because they don't have no one to teach them.
Now that's my point. I don't think it's about the fact that they don't want to be taught. We don't know how to teach them. That's what I think it is. We dropped the ball in our generation. We are afraid of them. You know, when they say something, they like, oh, these young cats are wild, this, that, and the third. We come from a wild era too. You know what I mean? And so we need to take the time to sit with these young men, which we are going to do on this show, to sit with these young men because they want the knowledge. Once you break past that barrier, because the only thing that they're doing is putting up a barrier. You know what I mean? It's a front, so you can't delve into them. Once you break past that barrier, then you get to them. Then you can teach them.
You can talk to these young cats.
Yeah, you can definitely talk to them.
And how I learned that is sometimes you gotta pull these young cats away from their peer pressures and be like, come on, man, let me talk to you for a second. You know, and then you just sit them down and you look right in their eye and you show them some battle scars that you may have. Tell them some stories, even though they don't want to hear war stories.
But see, that's the thing. They think there's something new under the sun. It's like there's nothing new under the sun. You can't change the game.
All around.
Like I said, they're making money. What is the saying? We say when the student is ready, the teacher will appear.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
But
when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So it's like, and again, some of us still doing the same things they doing.
But you know what happens? You know when people become ready? People become ready when they start to go through adversity that they can't handle.
True.
So there's going to be a point in time where those students are going to go through adversity where you telling them like, listen, my office door is open. You can come in at any time and get extra help from me. But now when you're about to fail and your lifestyle is being affected, you're going to show up at my door one day.
I'm going to give you a prime example. Okay. When we were younger, right? Our parents taught us that smoking is bad for you, right? Now, that's just like if you're sneaking and doing something, it's more fun than somebody actually knowing that you're doing it. So a lot of these younger guys and younger girls too, sometimes you gotta let them fail. You know, and when they fail, you just look at it. Like you just said, the door has to be open and ready for them to admit. But people gonna always make mistakes. That's one of the things that makes us human. You know, they not gonna listen because the problem is, and I'm gonna say this. I gotta say this one.
It's your house.
Yo, hey, it's y'all show.
Nah, it's all good, baby.
And I'm gonna just say this: we, as black people, keep continuing saying that we need leaders. We don't need no leader to do what we want to do. I don't hear no other race talking about, well, our leader, Klondike over here, he's gonna lead everybody to the. I've never, and excuse me for saying this, I love my white brothers, my Chinese brothers and sisters. I love everybody. But I never heard of any other race talking about they had a leader, except for us black.
You know why?
Why?
They don't have leaders. They have unity,
Exactly.
which is more important
Yes.
than a leader. We don't have unity on no level, no front, level. no nothing.
We're lost as a people.
We're not lost. We're not lost.
Some of us are.
Well, no.
Okay.
Some of us aren't lost. We just, in
the wilderness.
Yeah.
Would you say?
But you know what? The thing is what push us as a people is materialistic things. I'm gonna tell you something. When I worked in Walmart, you know how many billionaires came in there and they never dressed like it? These people, they don't show what they have. They're smarter than that. And nowadays, it's not the white man. It's the bruh man.
I know you got something to say about this. Go ahead. Go ahead. No. Nah, go ahead. Look, because I go ahead.
It's not.
You let dog finish.
It's not the white man. Well, the white man. No. It ain't no white man. It's the bruh man.
The things that we do
we hurt our communities.
Absolutely.
We you know what? I'm gonna just say this. Hey, we all have arguments with our ladies, wives, girlfriends, whoever, and sometimes we get mad. We may say something that hurt, those relationships. But when you publicly out there dogging your sisters, like for instance, there was a situation that just happened not too long ago where this pregnant girl got shot 30 times in Chicago. Totally unnecessary. Regardless of whatever she has done, there's another black woman lost. She could have been carrying the next king.
Absolutely.
Who knows?
Well, what's happening when I say that we in the wilderness is that we are the original man. We can't be defeated by anybody. You know what I mean? We can't be stopped. We're gonna last as we have been lasting the test of time. But we need to learn how to hone our power, and we're still learning that after going through what we went through. So I'm gonna use the example of if I was training a firefighter to put out a fire on a building, and he has all that water pressure coming through that hose that can save a lot of lives and stop that building from burning down. And he doesn't know how to handle that thing, it can go all over the place, kill somebody by knocking them in the head because that metal tip on the end is heavy. Yeah. You know what I mean? But he has to learn how to wield that thing. And what we're learning as men with our masculinity and our hypermasculinity is to wield it. So we got to go through something in order to learn how to wield it. But it takes conversation like this. It takes sitting down with people once we gain the knowledge of, because what I'm finding in our community is you have a lot of people that yap and talk, but they have never went through the process of becoming a true man. So you're trying to teach people how to be a man and a woman, and they've thrown words out there like, I'm a king, I'm a queen, I'm a diva, and this or whatever have you. And what classroom have you sat in to be able to call yourself that? And normally 9 times out of 10, if people have sat in a classroom, it's been within an environment where you had horrible teachers. So you really have to go on a journey to get yourself to a point to where you gain true knowledge of self. You can call yourself a true woman and a true man, and then you begin to teach that back to other people. But you have so many people in position where they're just throwing the words around or thinking they are in a certain position of manhood and womanhood that they're not. So the emotions are coming from when people get called out on it, they react defensively.
But you know what the problem is, brother? The problem, brother, is we have slave mentalities. And racism still exists. Right now, there's black people being sold in Africa right now from other black people. And there's slave plantations in Georgia right now as we speak. I know this firsthand. Somebody I know witnessed it. And another problem is we quick to shoot the black man than we would be to shoot that police officer that's going to come in your neighborhood and kill your whole family up for no reason at all. And you know what? This is why, and I'm not against police, don't get me wrong, but the thing is, police was created by the slave master to bring the slaves back when they escaped. That's where the police come from. But at the same time, we're willing to shoot each other. We're gonna be quick to shoot our brother or shoot our sister or whoever the case may be if they look at us wrong. But guess what? When that policeman come knocking on your door, who you already know come to kill you, we run.
But that's what Chris was talking about. We have no unity. And we were taught that from what you were talking about, and to triangulate the whole conversation, what you were talking about, that was taught from slavery. We were taught to fear the white man and to fear these people. And they truly have no fear of us. We could be in the grocery store somewhere and they're crossing boundaries and stepping over us because of the mentality that they have. You know what? Because of the mentality that they have. So we were taught that from slavery is to fear. It's been institutionalized.
But you know what? Slavery is something that we created.
Mm-hmm.
When you look back into history, the Hebrews and Israelites enslaved each other.
Mm-hmm. It's not what you do, but how you do it.
Exactly. Now, when all these other nations, because the first slave masters was not the white man, as they say, it was the Arabs.
Mm-hmm.
Those were the first slave masters.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to offend nobody because I know there's a lot of Muslim brothers out there, but that religion was basically based on keeping that black man in line.
Mm-hmm.
And later on became adopted by the black man. Mm-hmm. Just like Christianity, same thing. And I do believe in God, but at the same time, the Bible has been rewritten a million times. You'll never know the true one until you go straight to Israel, and then you'll see the true one. But of course, you can't read it because it's written in a certain type of way. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, we adopted a lot of things to harm each other because we didn't believe in each other from the start. Mm-hmm. All these other nations, they seen us enslaving each other. So they said, you know what? Damn, we need something built. We might as well just get a couple of them to build our nation.
So but that don't make it right. If me and him fighting in our house and we fighting in our yard, that don't give you the right to come in my yard or my house. You know what I'm saying? And pick up on the fight. That's between us. But you know what I'm saying? It's not right. I cuss him out, he cuss me out. It's not right, but that don't give you the right to come over here and do what we doing to each other. We cool with it, even though we don't like it, but we got a sort of an understanding. Now, when you got outside influence coming in, you got to have a problem with that. That's like with the culture. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's cool what we do, the N-word or whatever have you within the culture, influencing the culture and dictating what the culture should do. Then that's the problem, man.
Well, see, the thing is that when it was first being said in certain songs, somebody should have stepped up and did something about it then. But now it's like a fad. You hear everybody saying, you hear Chinese people, this nigga over there went over to the store. And he like,
again, because that's within our culture. It's trendy within our culture, and everybody just jumped on it and felt it was cool. But you got a lot. This is the thing. You got a lot of black people that'll check, others.
They will.
You know what I'm saying? But then you got some like within the culture or within that if they do something foul, it's like you're not gonna check them on. You know what I'm saying? That was immorally wrong.
But you know what? See, the thing is that nothing will ever really be done about it because we are so against each other. Instead of see now, this is the new narrative now. Okay, you know Puff Daddy, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, instead of everybody wanting to be like the Joneses, they trying to be like the Combses now. Mm-hmm.
Listen. So we listen. I pose this question.
We want to outdo one another.
Yeah. Do you believe when you have choices, you can't be a victim of your environment?
Of course.
No, you can't. You know what I mean? Because if you have true knowledge of self, you can't be a victim of anything.
If you're not strong enough.
But when you have true knowledge of self, you can't be a victim of anything. And to put it like from a biblical perspective, Christ was born into a culture that he wasn't a part of. You know what I mean? He actually was able to see himself out of that culture. And this is what the message that I try to relay to people is that don't be so of the culture that you lose yourself. Because best believe that there are people out there and their sole job is to infiltrate your culture.
I'm gonna give you a promise.
You know what I mean? Your coach. Well, 1 second. How do people find us? Are we on Project? Because I got people that's trying to log on. What is it? Project Mirror?
No. Tell them to look up UD Productions Go Love Team.
UD Productions
Go Love Team, and they'll see that we live. Now,
UD?
Yeah. UD Productions. Go Love T. Now, I'm going to give you a prime example. Okay, let's talk about Jim Jones. All right. Now, Jim Jones and Mano. I spoke about this on one show, right? Okay. These guys, no hate. I love these guys. I like their songs. They good. I'm glad they still up and kicking. They got control now of a lot of these younger heads. Instead, they promoting a thing called lobby boys. Lobby boys. Why? Mm-hmm. First of all, who want to hang around in the lobby? You might get shot. Mm-hmm. Especially if you hang around in the projects lobby. You know, I think that a lot of these guys now that's on YouTube promoting all this silly stuff, and no disrespect to Jim Jones, because I go back and forth to New York City, and I might run into Jim Jones or Mano. Mm-hmm. You know, but the thing is that what they should do is they should take control of a lot of these younger heads and try to school these young brothers. Because a lot of these young brothers now, they carrying guns. You know, a lot of these guys, and you know what, no disrespect to the single mothers out there. A lot of these younger dudes, because, you know, my father wasn't always around, but he did come around. You know, he was in my life and all that, but he was a hustler. So we didn't really see him all the time. Mm-hmm. You know, but there's some of these younger brothers out here, they're raised just by their moms, and sometimes if the mother's not a good mother, she's gonna pass emotional thoughts to these younger dudes.
Okay, that's a good way to, you know, bring the topic back to where it was on masculinity. You know what I mean? Yeah. And a lot of us have been raised in single parent homes by our mothers. You know, so when we talk about hip hop, we talk about some of the music that influenced hip hop that our parents were playing, and then we went out into the streets and we were raised by these men. And as I talked about before, some of them weren't the best men. Some of them were great men. Some of them were great men with issues. But that's our job to discern between what we need to take from our environment. Every animal species has to do that. You know what I mean? So then it becomes a factor of what are you going to do with the information? That's when you're held responsible for what you do with the information, because the information is out there. You know what I mean? Like, but you know, like you were telling the story earlier about your friend and what happened to him. You guys were given the same information. You woke up with the same amount of money, which was 24 hours, because time is money. How you choose to spend your money dictates how you're going to live in the future. You know what I mean? He chose, God rest his soul, to spend his money in a certain way, and this is what happened. You chose with your 24 hours to do it a different way, and look at what you are and what you're doing to help the people. You know what I mean? So we have a choice in this. I'm not going to say that we weren't manipulated and still are being manipulated as a people through our culture. And that's the best way to get to people, is to infiltrate what they're already doing. Whoa. And hip hop still is a beast. It was a beast at that time. So why create something new when they already got this thing going on? I'm going to sit a couple brothers at the table. I'm going to give them some money. I'm going to make them billionaires. You know what I mean? You get this done, you're going to be the first billionaire.
But you know what?
You know what I mean?
That's true. But at the same time, see, the thing is, I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna blame somebody, and I know who I'm gonna blame.
Don't get us kicked off before we get kicked on.
Don't blame nobody.
I'm gonna blame the government. We ain't gonna get kicked off like that. Whoa! And you want me to tell you why? Okay, now I'm quite sure. I don't know if y'all guys remember, but I remember them big blocks of welfare cheese, eating grilled cheese sandwiches every morning. Mm-hmm. I remember mayonnaise sandwiches. I tried a mustard sandwich, but I didn't like it. I remember banana slice cakes, Little Debbie's. I remember all of this. And this is the stuff that we had to grow up with.
Mm-hmm.
That's just like you eating stale crackers all your life, and then somebody brings a steak over there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you gonna act crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's going on with a lot of these younger cats nowadays.
You talking about my favorite topic, which is diet, and not only the ingestion of caloric intake, but whatever you choose to put into your system and your mindset and your emotions is how you're going to react. Now, I'm going to definitely delve into that because Chris knows that's my topic. We're definitely going to delve into that into future episodes and bring actually professionals in. I've been talking to a few professionals, letting them know what we have going on. They're going to come in, talk to the people. Seminars are coming, things of that nature. So y'all look out. I'm about to do it super big.
Let's do it.
Super big. For the
power.
People. Yeah, this is just one segment, but diet is my thing. I'm gonna say it, I'm in the middle of working on almost finishing up a book called Diet right now. You know, the ingestion of life or death, because every choice you make, I'm gonna say the devil is after.
Well,
and every choice you make leads you to either life or death, and that's all diet. So what they do is, if you look into our neighborhoods, into a lot of these black neighborhoods, there's liquor stores, there's bodegas and convenience stores that can't even get access to healthy stuff.
I'm gonna say something to you.
You know what I mean? They can't, so they only get access to the little Debbies and the Utz, potato chips, or when I go and visit North Carolina and I see the chips with the wrappers on them. Like the rapper, Lil Wayne on a bag of potato chips.
But you know what? But you know what? That's true. But you know what? I'm gonna throw something real strong out there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't support bodegas.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely don't support them because they rip our community off.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna tell you what made me not support them.
Mm-hmm.
When I used to work at Walmart, and I used to see those guys coming there and buy Snapples for 88 cents, and just because it's in your freezer, you gonna charge the community $2.75?
I get you, but you know what? I disagree with that. I believe that we need to support them and teach them because they've been taught a mindset to where this is how they are taught to get ahead. I know I did it at a certain point in time. You know, I would go to the store before school in the morning and buy a 15-cent pack of Now and Laters and sell it for $1 at school to somebody. You know what I mean? But that's the way I was taught to get money. But so what we need to do is support them, because if you take away their money, you take away their resources. If you teach them something while they have the money, now they still have the resources to do it, but now they're going to do it in a different way.
But check this out though. When you look at I'm gonna give you a prime example, right?
Mm-hmm.
Go to Milford, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just drive around in Milford.
Mm-hmm.
You're not gonna see no liquor stores on every corner.
Nope.
You're definitely not gonna see bodegas on every corner.
Nope.
And the place where I work at, I ain't gonna say it because I don't want to get them involved.
Mm-hmm.
They label all of their stuff because of people like that in our neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't come over there where I work at and oh yeah, let me get this and let me get that and go sell it back in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't do that
mm-hmm.
because the neighborhood would know where it came from.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you think about it, a lot of these bodegas, first off, they sell us rotten food.
Mm-hmm.
They don't never check their foods out.
Mm-hmm.
First off, a lot of people can't afford to go to Walmart and get it for the price that they got it for.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I never seen an Asian at a community meeting that owned a Chinese restaurant.
Exactly.
But still, you know what I mean? So,
I'm gonna hit you with this one too. Another thing about and you know what? I'm gonna use this place as an example because I have beef with it. That Chinese restaurant downtown Bridgeport is ripping the community off. Okay? China House, whatever it is, they rip the community off. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because I went down there and I paid with my debit card, and then I looked. Good thing I checked my app. Homeboy took a tip out for himself. He took a $5 tip out without me even knowing. And another thing is our community. We don't fight.
Mm-hmm.
We don't fight. We let anybody come and set up shop in our neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm.
Bet you go to Black Rock and try to open up a store. Neighborhood watch is coming over there.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have a couple of homeowners they want to know what kind of store you putting over there.
Mm-hmm.
How many people gonna be working for it over
Mm-hmm.
there? We don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Again, unity.
Yeah, absolutely. And then where's the men? So to bring, like I said, with masculinity and hypermasculinity, how do you be a man? Being masculine doesn't mean that I have to go out and be chauvinistic.
No.
You know what I mean? So being a man, I can show love as a man. Mm-hmm. Tell a woman, tell my brother, I tell my cousin, yo, I love you. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. And I don't know anybody that I know that would question my masculinity.
But you
know what I mean? But so we don't have to be hyper masculine as a people. No. And I think within the hip hop culture, it's teaching our men to be overly masculine, hyper masculine, instead of using that energy within our communities to help in situations as you're talking about. Because, and I don't want to blame them. It's just that people don't have the knowledge. The one thing I don't do is I don't play the blame game with people unless you have the knowledge of doing certain things. So these are our brothers and sisters. The white people we don't like to talk about it, are our brothers and sisters. Exactly. Are our brothers and sisters, and a lot of us are lost. And so we need the knowledge. You know what I mean? And it's up to people like us who have the knowledge to be able to. That's our job as leaders. What if we look up the definition of what a leader means? And I'm not talking about when you go into the dictionary and it says the Greek word meaning leader and the Roman word meaning leader, because the Egyptians taught the Romans and the Greeks. So I'm talking about from the, Egyptology. When you go back then, what is the term for leader? It's a teacher. A father is a teacher. So we need to train but you can't become you just don't wake up and somebody bestow you with the title of the teacher. You know what I mean? Even if you are crowned and you come from a certain bloodline, you still going to have to get trained up the ranks. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Go ahead.
No. So what I'm saying is, what we need to do is take ourselves back to school. We don't need to have school always under the United States curriculum. You know what I mean? Of what school needs to be. But go out and teach those of us who would consider yourself a man, tried and true. Go back into your communities in the different places and teach other men your journey and how to be men, so they can learn, so they can properly teach others.
But you know what?
Yeah.
I mean, I had to throw something in with this one. Okay, on the hip hop part, hip hop is not teaching our men super masculinity. It's teaching a lot of guys to be girls. Mm-hmm. Because when you look at hip hop now, mm-hmm. a lot of these rappers are wearing dresses. Mm-hmm. They dressing feminine. It's like you gotta look at the dude who Dwayne Wade. He was dealing with a girl, and the girl was trying to have his son thing cut off. Mm-hmm. That's a prime example of us just being lost.
Right, we're in the wilderness.
And not only that, in order for us to be masculine, the one thing we gotta get rid of, and I know there's gonna be some people that probably don't like what I'm saying. Get rid of the gang culture. Get rid of the gang culture. Because real men don't travel in packs. And I'm not disrespecting the gangs. I was in one myself. No disrespect. But in order for us, first of all, and I'm going to bring this up because this has a lot to do with, what we talking about with the masculinity. Back in the days, gangs in New York City was called posses. Posses were invented to protect your neighborhood. Mm-hmm. In LA, the Crips actually was invented to protect their neighborhood. Mm-hmm. The Bloods was a gang that was set aside coming out of the Crips because they wanted to do their own thing. Mm-hmm. So a lot of these young guys, I want to give a shout out also to Michelle Christopher and everybody that's up here. And I want to say another thing, y'all. Like, share, and subscribe. Because we ain't just saying this wasting our breath, y'all. We trying to get somewhere. We trying to put this out here so other people can see. But another thing I wanted to say is that we have to do better as a people. And I'm going to just say this to all of the ladies out there. Stop putting your mans down. Stop calling your boyfriends, your husbands worthless. Stop calling them, excuse my language, a bitch ass nigga.
And it goes the opposite way too. The men start uplifting
absolutely.
women.
So dog, here we go. I'm gonna challenge you.
Okay.
So you said that you don't support bodegas.
No.
How about if you just go and try to have a conversation with the brothers?
I did.
Okay.
And what happened was, I went inside of a bodega over here on Stratford Avenue, and I forgot the name of that street over there. And the guy, I bought some baby wipes. This is my oldest son was born, and one of the baby wipes was open. So I said to him, well, hey man, can I get another one? You know, at that point in time, I was naive. I didn't know that they was going to Walmart just to do that stuff and then bring it back. So the guy got into an argument with me and everything, and it was a situation where he tried to pull a gun out on me and stuff. So I took it from there, you know, and I seen it for what it was. You know, they don't really support the community. They ripping the community off, you know, because when you think about it, for that grandmother that can't make it to Walmart to get it for a cheaper price, that bodega is charging her twice than what she would have paid at Walmart.
Absolutely.
And I'm totally against that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But if you shut him down now, what you gonna do?
Oh, I'll go to Walmart.
Oh, see, that's you though. You just said like a grandmother. What is the community gonna do if every bodega, because you know on Stratford Avenue, because of that grocery store, whatever is coming, you know, they started shutting a lot of stuff down.
What they have to do with Stratford Avenue or any other place that's in a situation like this, what the community have to do is band together. Instead of everybody trying to hurt one another, because I'm gonna tell you something about Bridgeport, okay? And I'm from New York, but I see a lot of things out here that I didn't see in New York. You already know it's gritty. Everybody, you know, is on their own time. You know, you could do something. You could do something on that street corner right there, and then go to the Bronx somewhere. Nobody never finds you. You know. But out here, with these close-knit communities, people hate on each other. They don't want to see you get no more than what they get. You could be doing something to provide, and the reason why I speak on this, because I've been part of it. I ain't gonna say this congressperson name, this Senate dude, but I DJ'd for him 3 days straight. And just because he lost, he ain't pay nobody. He still owe me $500 to this day right now.
So it sounds like within the community, you've had a few personal experiences.
Yes, I have.
That contributed to the way you're feeling now.
I was part of a clique in this community.
Yeah, I get it. You know, you have a couple, but it goes back to leadership and teaching. Anytime you are a leader, brother, you're going to get stones thrown at you. People are going to come at you. You got to stand strong and say, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. In a lot of instances.
You know what?
A lot of instances.
I have done that. That's how I was able to accept the blessings that I got. You know, it was a blessing to know that brother Chris over there. And then now you. That was a blessing. You know, because I was able to forgive a lot of people. Because, you know, as we coming up as a black man, you already created a problem. Because already your mind is and your willpower is strong. like you said earlier, if it's directed the right way. You know, and there's a lot of lost brothers and sisters out here. It's a lot of them.
Yeah, there's also a lot of teachers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So brothers like us and the sisters out there who are teachers, and like I said, can really call themselves women, can really call themselves men. It's our job to go back and teach the community, because getting rid of a lot of negative people in the community would be like getting rid of all the bad kids. When in a lot of them bad kids, there is a lot of great things. So we can't just automatically throw them out and kick them out of the community, just like when we're dealing with the hip hop thing right now. We can't, from my perspective, you can't just get rid of the young generation, because we were the younger generation at one time. And I'm going to tell you, before there was a Nicki Minaj, as I said before, there was a Little Kim. You know what I mean? There was somebody out there.
Before there was a Little Kim, there was a
there was
a Millie Jackson.
You know, Millie Jackson.
There was a Millie Jackson. I don't know if y'all remember Millie Jackson.
Yeah, what?
Nasty.
And talking about certain things. So you can't get rid of those. That's a part of the culture. Yeah. Your cousin that you don't like, that does bad stuff, but you know that person, he has a good heart, and how they all grew up together. Yeah. That's a part of your family. So this community is a part of us. It's a part of our culture. So we can't just totally disconnect and play the blame game with them. We got to start reaching out and teaching. That's what other cultures do that we don't have. They have that unity to where they don't talk about their stuff in the street. Yeah. It's behind closed doors. You know what I mean? That they air out their dirty laundry.
But you know, the one thing is we spend a lot of resources trying to hurt one another.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, when you really think about it, who is black people morally afraid of? The police.
Mm-hmm. We're not afraid of police. We afraid. You know what it is? Honestly, we are afraid of ourselves. And what I mean by that is some people are afraid of success. Some people are afraid of greatness. Some people are afraid of, man, if I become this person, dag, am I still gonna get the respect or the accolades or the attention?
That's true.
And sometimes, you changing into a leader, a teacher, a man, get you more props than you were being a gangster or, a knucklehead.
I'm going to give you a prime example.
I'm
going to give you a prime example. Mm-hmm. We spoke about this brother earlier. Okay. Yes, I did say some things about Jay-Z, but you know what? I'm proud of Jay-Z at the same time, even though I'm like not even a spectacle in his life. And the reason why, see, a lot of people thought that he switched sides and all that. Mm-hmm. That brother did a smart thing. Mm-hmm. He's seen it for what it was. Mm-hmm. That's why he's who he is to this day right now. Mm-hmm. He made moves to get away from the exact people that we're talking about right now. Mm-hmm. And that's how you gotta do things. When you become successful, I mean, judging by how okay, I'm gonna give you a prime example. Damon Dash. Damon Dash was a type of dude that was spending money all over the place. And then if you look at the documentaries and you see the look on Jay-Z's face and he see all that stuff was going on, he knew he had to get away from that. And that's what we gotta do. Look at Nipsey Hussle. Nipsey Hussle, he had the same thought that we had. What happened to him? He got killed in his own neighborhood.
Mm-hmm. I think sometimes, chess and checkers. We always saying,
true.
They playing chess, we playing checkers. But in chess, pawns can be real strategic pieces.
True.
And what you just mentioned, I think Jay-Z was playing chess and Dame was playing checkers. So I think Jay used him as a pawn, you know what I'm saying, to make some moves.
True.
To get to where he is. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's, they say it's all fair in love and war, and, but sometimes you got to lighten your load to get to where you got to go.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? And I think because, you know, and Nas said it good, he said it, you know, best rather. He said, you know, like drugs kept the hood from starving. Mm-hmm. You know, back in the late 60s, early 70s. So now hip hop is being influenced by all this money. So it's keeping a lot of people from starving. So
you know what?
So I understand the selling out, or
I beg
quote
to
unquote
differ on that one.
On what?
Or the drugs kept the hood from starving. Because you know what? The people that put the drugs in the neighborhood and the guns in the neighborhood was Richard Nixon.
Okay.
And Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
So it actually killed the hood.
It did, but it kept food on some people's table.
And that's why you got to look at things from a holistic perspective.
And that's the part of the system.
It actually did kill the neighborhood, but it also kept the hood from starving at the same time. You know what I mean? You got to look at things from a holistic perspective of what it is. It caused a lot of destruction, but now Jay-Z is in a predicament. And as I said before, if you take the bodega away from the guy now, you understand, you don't know what resources you may be taking away from him to where he can now grow to be a Jay-Z is now, he's not a drug dealer anymore. Now he has the choice to make to say, do I help the community with the billions of dollars that I have, or do I make another choice? But at least he has that choice coming from where he came from. He was one of the bad kids. Do you get rid of him? You understand? You teach him. Sometimes you got to be behind them, as the Nation of Islam did. So they started to go into the hip hop culture back in the day. They didn't dismiss all these kids who were coming out and were talking about certain things, because there was a lot of them that were way older than the demographic of the culture. And they just didn't totally flush the culture down the toilet. They went in and said, you know what? These kids are powerful. They're influential. They're saying something. They come from our community. Let's teach them the ways that we know. You know what I mean? And then they will actually teach others.
Well, see, you know what? The thing is, okay, with the Jay-Z part, Jay-Z already seen what happened to Nipsey Hussle. He already seen what happened to Young Dolph. He already seen what happened to Draco. It's a list of people that he already seen. You know, you just can't. That's just like crabs in a barrel. You know, you climb in the barrel, but it's always gonna be somebody that's gonna try to drag you down. Mm-hmm. And as far as with the bodegas, them guys ain't trying to help nobody but their families.
Nah, but this is where it's another strategic move. Like, you know, because you have, you know, people from other cultures that come in. They come into these communities for a reason, and they set up shop. So we don't need to blame them. We need to blame us, because a lot of us, some of us in this community have been through enough drug money to open up a mall, a strip mall of bodegas in this. You know what I mean?
That's what Nipsey Hussle did.
Yeah.
You see what he did with the Marathon store, and he was killed right in front of his own store.
And hip hop has made enough money where, man, it should have been unified, owning stuff.
You know what?
You know what I'm saying? It should have been way. To me, it should have been further along.
I'm gonna give you a prime example, and we all know this brother, and I'm gonna mention him. Tony Crush, White Flash. I'm mentioning these brothers because these brothers should be way. These are pioneers of hip hop. Mm-hmm. These brothers should be way better off than where they are right now. Mm-hmm. Way better. Look at Kool Herc. Kool Herc still live in the Bronx, in his old house. Mm-hmm. Hip hop is.
But does he own his house? That's the difference. I ain't moving if I own it.
How happy is he? Without the materialism?
Exactly.
Without the money, he may be the happiest brother on the face of this earth.
Again, but them brothers, like you just mentioned, a lot of them brothers didn't sell out to get the money. You know what I mean? They didn't sell out to get the money though. And that's what a lot of kids are doing.
True.
I'm not saying it's bad or whatever, but you got to do what you got to do to get where you got to go.
But see, check this out, right? Look at all these album covers on the wall. Mm-hmm. Where are all these people at now? Mm-hmm. That's why these albums are so viral.
Working, trying to make a living.
The conversation is being had now. to start certain programs out there to take care of. So we are in the wilderness as a people. And this is why I say, like, we have to get on people about doing certain things and stepping up, but don't step on them to where they can't get up at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Because we're coming. The conversation is being had now. We weren't in a position. We were trying to fight for our breath and our neck at a certain, we talking just 10, 15 years ago. We weren't in the social climate now where we can actually have a Black Lives Matter movement without us being,
you know what?
We weren't.
Black Lives Matter, and I'm going to speak on that because I was there in Bridgeport when they did the rally. Okay, I filmed it. I had it on video. I think it's probably about 1,000K right now of people that viewed that video. And I'm gonna just say this: Black Lives Matter. A lot of people might dislike what I'm saying. It's a sellout. It was a sellout when I went down there, and them chicks was telling me I'm infiltrating, and I'm trying to, okay. You sitting in front of y'all camped out in front of the precinct. You want to get exposure so people can know what's going on. So how am I infiltrating?
Yeah.
You know, it didn't make no sense. So that's how you know that Black Lives. And then look at Homegirl that was supposed to be head of it. She done bought like 6 mansions. Mm-hmm. She really made us look bad. Mm-hmm. You know, and then George Soros. He bought Black Lives Matter. Mm-hmm. So
again, our culture being infiltrated by money. You know what I'm saying? It started off as a good thing, but then when money comes and gets involved, it goes to the left.
Like, it happened to rock and roll. It happens to anything. Anything that the wolves can get their hands on is going to happen. But the message. Like I remember, you know, a lot of people talked about Barack Obama's presidency and is he truly for the black people? And I didn't care. I voted for Barack Obama because of the message that he sent without even speaking his own, without even opening up his mouth. The message that he sent to a young black man was powerful. That's why I voted for him. So it's not about the thing. And I don't want to turn this show into us using this platform to be bashing people and things of that nature. This is about, you know, hip hop and how hip hop influences our culture. So I know certain things we're going to go on, but I don't want to turn this show into about us getting on people because I want this show to be inclusive, you know, and everybody coming in and stating how they feel, because regardless of how we feel as a people about what's going on in other people and as it pertains to hip hop, these are real people with real lives doing the real things. And a lot of them don't wake up every day and you say, you know what, I'm going to do this devilish thing to the culture. You know, they're influenced by something else.
See, the thing is okay. I understand that. I agree with you 100%. The thing is that we have to stand strong. We have to stand strong individually. Mm-hmm. We can't keep saying somebody's our leader. Like Al Sharpton is not our leader. Mm-hmm. Al Sharpton is for the money.
Yeah, there is no one leader.
Exactly. And the thing is that also it's a lot of the younger generation. The younger generation has power, whether they're black or white.
They're bold,
and they're bold. Yes. And the thing is right now the government is trying to keep them dumbed down, because if they don't dumb them down, you know, they gonna wake up and realize that things is not what it seemed to be. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the music, like with us being DJs and stuff, you know, a lot of the music, like I remember when I was younger, we had Public Enemy, we had Eric B. and Rakim. Public Enemy, you could listen to not only a dope rap, but a dope beat. Rebel Without a Cause. Remember that beat? Don't Believe the Hype. Remember that? It's none of that no more.
We got a few, but again, they're not mainstream. A lot of stuff is streamed online. You gotta look. Again, positivity ain't the norm. You know what I'm saying?
No.
So you know it's out there. You just have to seek it, just like the knowledge. The knowledge is out there. You just have to seek it. You have to find it.
My question is, how important are we? And when I say that because we have about 70 to 80, maybe 90 years if you're lucky on this earth. So your job is to try to teach back whatever you learn to other generations so that they can thrive and master this world. So now the question becomes, how important is hip hop? Maybe the hip hop that we knew is gone or on its way out. You understand what I'm saying? The most important aspect is we find a way to get a message across to our people that we can thrive within this, because that's how it started. You understand what I'm saying? It's not we get too caught up in this whole, because hip hop can be looked at as a materialistic thing. That's ours and we need to protect it. That's true, but the purpose is the message. How are we now getting that message across? Maybe we have to come up with different ways. And the one thing that we are as a people is we're very resilient. We're very intelligent.
You know what? I'm gonna to be honest with you, and I'm not just saying this. I think the only person right now in hip hop, speaking on that one, that could probably get a message out, and he's been relevant since the 80s. Is Nas. That's just what I think.
Yeah, that's my man, 50 grand, y'all. Everybody know, but I disagree because Nas doesn't have as much influence as people of the younger culture. So once again, to go back, you have to. Nas did the smart thing by creating albums with Hit Boy and bringing on younger artists, so he can bridge the gap instead of talking about them, throwing them down or whatever have you. He has now took the golden opportunity to bridge the gap because he's wise enough to know I only have a certain amount of time in this game. And these younger cats have more of an influence on hip hop than me. Nas's video might get 1 million likes. You got some of these cats getting 20, 30 million views on YouTube. You know what I mean? So
when you listen to the song, do it make sense?
But listen. No, a lot of time, not to us. But think about it. Think about with our parents. Did hip hop make sense to them?
No,
it did not. So if we were to go back and we were to uplift ourselves as a culture and a people, are you going to take the same step that your parents took? Or now you're going to learn from their step and say, you know what? Instead of downplaying it, let me try to learn it. Because I don't agree with it. I don't listen to a lot of it, but I'm not about to sit here and put these young cats down either.
Yeah, you can't build but so much on an old foundation. You know what I'm saying?
But see, you know what? The reason why I say that, the reason why not trying to put the younger cats down or nothing, but a lot of these cats are making songs and they'll make a song right now and die tomorrow. You know, it's it's senseless.
Yeah, but that's how they're choosing to live their life. You know what I'm saying? What we always should have done, and what we still need to do is, like my cousin, for instance. You know, I love him. So what I did was I made my shoulders strong enough so he can stand on my shoulders and look further down the road. Because me standing on my own, I only could see but so much. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, yo, get on my shoulders further down the road. So now you can see what you're going to need to do. Because now you on my shoulders, you can look further down the road. Yeah. And that's how we need to do it. You know what I'm saying?
But you know what? Because the realistic way of how I look at things is I try to teach the youngsters that's closer to me, and hopefully they'll spread the word. You know, that's how I do it realistic.
But that's how it starts.
How it starts.
That's the way it starts. You know, I'm not gonna go down the street and teach a kid. And if I got cousins and a son in the house, I'm not gonna go down the street or if I'm teaching the kids down the street, I'm bringing them with me. Like, yo, come
and that's
what's going on.
Yeah, that's an individualistic thing. And Chris has always been that guy. As far as I can remember, I wouldn't be the man that I am today if it wasn't for Chris taking me to his house, taking me out of the hood, teaching me certain things. You know what I mean? Getting me away for a second. showing me different fashion, stuff like that. Like, yo, you got these kicks or whatever have you. Just, you know what I mean? Showing me different things. But we have a whole family. Now, all the men in my family did that. But Chris, being the person that he is, did that. So now it comes down to, like Dr. King said, which his birthday is coming up on Monday. Great segue. You know what I mean? Which his birthday is coming up on Monday. You got to judge a person by the content of their character. True. Outside of the color of their skin, even within your community, I have so many people that if we were to judge them from a materialistic perspective or a educational perspective or a societal perspective, they didn't make it anywhere in life. But they were so influential with because of the conversations that they had with me, so I could make it and now have degrees and other things that I've made it to. And people they didn't make it to anything. So once again, do we throw them away? No. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, no.
Where it also starts at with like for instance, I'm on YouTube a lot of times, and a lot of these older cats need to stop saying they outside. Mm-hmm. Outside for what? You go outside, what's gonna happen? A lot of these younger cats these older cats are just they making up new phrases.
Well, they mimicking hip hop. That's what hip hop was. Hip hop started as a thing where you would come off the top of the head or freestyle or go home and write your stuff. But whenever you were battling somebody, you had to be the livest dude out. You wouldn't go up and say, yo, I'm a punk, I'm a sucker, blah, blah, blah. No, you saying I'm the flyest cat. Even if you ain't have it, you had to go out and project yourself as being that type of person.
You know what? That's what Tribe Called Quest. They started out in the village battling in the park. Mm-hmm. So that part I know. They were battle rappers before anything.
Yeah, so, most rappers, most of them that even crossed over. Will Smith had the battle rap. Will Smith had the battle rap back in the day before they crossed over. You had to battle somebody back in the day. And I think a lot with the newer generation, they just battling each other in different ways.
Well, you know what I mean? The younger generation, they not really battling.
They battling, but it's ending up in warfare. And things of that nature.
They don't know how to keep
in a different way.
They don't know how to keep it.
Right. So now we have different perspectives. Is you showing your manhood, you showing your kingdom, but then you don't have control of your emotions. Yeah. So when somebody come and test your manhood, a king knows how to stand still.
Yes.
A true master will stand still. You will never see him come out and fight anybody unless it's truly necessary.
Because he wants to diffuse the situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Before it gets to
it's always the up and coming samurais that you'll see throwing their sword around or whatever have you.
But the master.
That's just like that saying, real bad boys moving south.
Yeah.
Right? See, a lot of these younger dudes and younger women are on that emotional state. Mm-hmm. And they not looking at things for what it really is. Mm-hmm. It's right now.
Yeah, because they seeing with their emotions and not their intelligence.
Exactly. And then you got the parents that's been on that emotional state before their kids was born.
Mm-hmm. Cyclical, generational trauma, generational behaviors and this is what we have to break free from. And this is why I say it. I'm gonna say it again. Don't be so caught up in your culture that it hurts you. I'm not that caught up in my culture.
No.
To where it hurt. I disconnect a lot, and people know that. I don't have one social media site. I let other people do that and handle that, and I'm not disrespecting it. If that's what you do and that's your thing, it could be great for some people to connect to other people. I just don't. You know what I mean? I'm not that caught up in the culture because there's a lot of things about the culture that are not right. So I don't want to learn how to eat a certain way. I don't want to learn how to live a certain way from a dysfunctional culture. You know what I mean? So we can't get caught. We have to learn to disconnect away from the culture. And you have to do that in order to do what? To find yourself. You can never find yourself amongst a group of people.
No.
You can't. No. You have to be able to. And most people with a 24/7, they this.
On the phone.
They looking up at you, giving you half attention and telling you that they're giving you. There's no way that you can give me your undivided or full attention if all the time you're doing this. And you ain't conducting business. You're not that important. You know what I mean? I can understand if you were conducting business. Like you might have seen me on my phone, but I'm trying to get cats to say, listen, we on right now, so I can get you to watch all the time or whatever have you. But there are cats that they're on their phone 24/7, and they have this mindset that they are that important, and not realizing that you get 100% of anything when you start off. It's given to you. But once you delve into something else, so if I get on my phone now, I'm 90, 80, 70, 60, 50%, period. And then what happens when somebody call you out and challenge you, you don't even recognize that you at 50%. You getting defeated at 50% when you could have been 100 if you just sat. You understand what I'm saying?
I understand you, but you know what? That's excellent what you said, brother, because that's thinking out the box.
Yeah.
I'm one of them brothers, and I see you doing so. I ain't gonna think the way the other person may think it's gonna be. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna look at it on another level. Cause that's just like if you give me a wrench and you say, look, man, you can change a car tire with this one little wrench right here. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna be thinking of ways how to modify it. Yeah. I'm not gonna think, well, damn, I can't do this, man.
Yeah, and getting back to the question at hand, the masculinity. Yeah. If you go 100 miles an hour all the time, you're gonna burn yourself out. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're gonna be so you ain't gonna be no good to nobody. Basically, everything gonna bother you. You're not gonna have time to explain nothing because you're gonna be angry, mad, upset because you're not functioning.
Well, you know what? One thing that I've always, and I've been doing this like my whole life, I've always took a step back at things. Like I never. That's just like, okay, I'm trying to get from New York City to over here on a train, and I know I don't have no money. I'm not going to think that everything is lost, because I know I can talk to the conductor and get on it. I did it plenty of times. Mm-hmm. But, I've always thought out the box, because the one time that I did try to be a follower, I failed miserably. Mm-hmm. And that was my key right there to know that I was one of them brothers that always had to do his own thing.
Yeah, absolutely. But you got to use your community to get back to what Chris was saying. You're going to burn yourself out. And there are certain people, when you are a CEO of a company, which you should be the CEO of your life, the CEO of the company doesn't mop the floors, but you know how to hire people to hire people. You delegate certain things. So this is where we have to learn to use the people around us and use our community. And that means sometimes having trainings and seminars and things of that nature to build our company up. And your company should be everybody around you. They should be appointed people. And this is where you hear a lot of motivational speakers saying, if people don't add significance to your life, you need to get rid of them. It's the same thing of a company. You fired. You got to go. And this is people within our family. This is people within our community. And this is why we're on the topic of masculinity within this hip hop culture. We need to now check brothers and saying, I hear you calling yourself a man. I hear you calling yourself a king. But are you really? What are you doing for the community? Are you hurting it or are you helping it? We're here to call you out. Well, you can get mad. You can get emotional. You know what I mean? You need to learn how to check that. But you're dealing with warriors here.
Well, a lot of these brothers and sisters get being called the king and the queen mixed up because they think the money is what makes them that. Mm-hmm. It's not what they're thinking in their head. They think just because they have money, they could be. I've heard stories about, and I'm gonna just not to bash her, but I'm just gonna say something about that because I've heard people say this multiple times on social media. That Nicki Minaj, allegedly was not a good person to work for. She treats people real bad. I don't know how true that is.
Puffy, but everybody said Puffy and Jay-Z not, good to work for. But it's one of those things where people get fascinated by titles. You know what I'm saying?
True.
Mm-hmm. People aren't humble enough to just accept.
Mm-hmm. I got a story to where my man and I, shout out to my man Jay Black, we were outside of he had won tickets to the In Studios, the Hard Knock Life album release In Studio series at Hot 97 back in the day. Yeah. So we ended up going to that. We were one of like 30 people that were in the studio that got to check out the album before it came out. Yeah. When we went downstairs to go to the car, saw Jay-Z down there standing by himself. We had like a 20-25 minute conversation with Jay-Z. Yeah. And he showed us the utmost respect. I had another situation where a very popular DJ, who I'm not going to name his name, really tight like that, from Connecticut. Somebody that, from Connecticut that's, DJing on a radio station, had a different experience where he said, Jay-Z talked down to him at the time, when he asked him for a drop. You know what I mean? But
I know who you're talking about.
Okay, that's crazy that you do, but I'm not going to name names here. But
he's a humble brother, by the way.
Very humble. DJ. Very humble. One of the most humble people I've ever met. One of the most humble people I've ever met in my life. And I'm not going to, you know what I mean? But within that situation, I'm saying that these people are who they are. Jay-Z is who he is. He might be a loving dude on one day. He might be so focused on the grind the next day. He might be, but guess what? So are we. So am I. So I'm not about to knock this brother because I'm not perfect. You know what I mean? You might catch me on one day. I'm so focused. You may think that I'm neglecting you and things of that, but I'm so focused on the grind that is different for you right now than this other person. So Nicki Minaj might be the same way. And I'm sure there's a lot of good about her. You know what I mean? Yeah. Also, that's a personal perspective where people of higher intelligence, you go with that mindset of Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. You understand what I'm saying?
But you know what? I understand that. But you know what? The one thing, like, it's something that you had said earlier. I can't elaborate right now too well with it. But I always say this. Just because somebody has fame, that don't make them higher or lower than anybody. Mm-mm. And I've always lived by this saying right here. A job is a stepping stone to having your own. Mm-hmm. So the same way we trying to get somewhere or already be somewhere, that was the same way how the guy who owns Walmart, God bless the dead, the guy's no longer living, or the man who owns Target or whoever, they were just like us, and they were focused to get where they need to be. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, and I'm gonna just say this last thing, is in order for us to be a better community, to be better towards one another, we have to recognize each other's greatness. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
In order for anyone to be great, you gotta recognize somebody's greatness.
Absolutely.
And I know, I had said some downing things earlier about certain
but you also speaking from your perspective. You come as you are.
Yeah.
You come as you are. But yeah.
And you know what? And I did this just before I got here today. Mm-hmm. There was a brother who said he was a Vietnam vet. He had a sign out. So I looked down on the brother and did not grab them up and gave him some change. Mm-hmm. So my thing is never look down on somebody unless you're going to help them up.
Yeah, it's Malcolm X.
But I do look down on certain brothers that's knowing what's going on in the community. And they ain't doing right. Like, I'm going to give you a prime example. New Year's Eve day. New Year's Eve. It sounded like a war zone out here. Mm-hmm. Somebody had a Uzi or something. Mm-hmm. And was shooting it out. You would have never heard that in a wealthy neighborhood. It's no longer a black or white thing because everybody's rich. Mm-hmm. But the thing is I believe we just have to, as a people, we have to start standing tall, looking tall. Mm-hmm. Keep your head up, like Tupac said. Mm-hmm. And congratulate each other. And ladies out there, and this goes for the New York ladies. Whenever a brother walk by and he say you look nice, don't give him an attitude. and go get your man to beat the man up. This happened in New York.
Well, with that, you just pay the next lady the compliment that will accept it.
That's it.
Yeah, but
but as men, we need to go back out in our community and show it love.
Yeah, absolutely.
You
You got to show love to the
Yeah.
brother. With the Uzi, you got to talk to him. But in order to get a person, you can't talk down to him. So you can't say, yo, you stupid for what you were doing and blah, blah, blah. It's, hey, man, what's up, brother? I heard you out there the other day popping off. Blah, 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 ha, ha, ha. Let me talk to you. And sometimes you don't even bring up directly what you need to talk to him about. You just show him a different way.
Yeah.
This is what I was doing New Year's. This is what me and my people were doing New Year's. You know what I mean? And with the lady, if you say something to her and she don't say nothing back, say, all right, sister, I hope you have a good day. That might change her whole perspective. At least he didn't get disrespectful. You B, I can't believe you ain't said. You know what I mean? Because then you taking that situation, a lot of us men, and then showing how insecure we are. So somebody don't pay you attention. So now you're going to disrespect them. How much attention do you need? What were you looking for out of that situation? You know what I mean? What were you looking for? Instead of, if you so secure in yourself, even if you was trying to bag her or holler at her, you know what I mean? Or whatever, had to take her out on a date, show her a good time, whatever have you. If you that secure within yourself, it wouldn't matter what she said back or if she said nothing at all. So this is where we need to raise our men up to where they're at a level of masculinity to where we can now, we're not as emotional. You know what I mean? Because right now we are overly emotional as a people, as a man. You can't even talk to certain men about certain things. They'd rather talk about sports or whatever is going on social media or anything that deflects from their internal feelings. Exactly. How hurt are you because you're going out and hurting the community? So we have to get men to a level to where first thing you have to do is become comfortable talking about these things. And the first thing that happens when you're trying to make somebody comfortable is you're going to make them uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So we got to have these uncomfortable conversations. So yes, I respect you coming from your perspective. You know what I mean? And us challenging one another to think from different perspectives because we're all different people from the same community.
And you have to let it be known because some people take it personal. Can we have a conversation?
Brain is
you know what I'm saying?
Take it personal.
Can we have a conversation without, because that testosterone level gonna raise up.
Yeah.
You know what? And it's okay to disagree.
But see, you know what? That's the difference though between men and boys. A man, we could talk about things and that won't happen. Because we at the end of the day, we just talking. Now a boy ain't gonna, well, what you saying? The incident you was talking about in that store. Why?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
it makes no sense.
At the end of the day, we need to raise some warriors, get our community back in order.
Yeah.
And start showing each other the love we deserve.
So to piggyback off of what Dog was saying, I'm sorry, Dog.
No problem.
It's just that certain people are boyish in emotions and not manly in emotions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So some people have not, what we were talking about earlier, they have not graduated to a certain level of manhood, even though you have in stature. You have, biologically, you're a man now. You have, the stuff that women love these days. You got the salt and pepper beard going on. You know what I mean? So now you're looking like this masculine man, and then somebody tests you, and once again, you have 50%. You haven't made it to 100% masculinity to where your emotions are not affected by what somebody says about. There will be no great leaders. And like I said, there's not one leader. There's a bunch of them. But there will be no great leaders in this world if everybody succumb to their emotions.
Yep.
I'm going to give you a prime example. Right? I know I've been giving prime examples
all day, but we love it. Let's go. Let's go.
Now, I used to train pit bulls. Yes, my father taught me how to be a man. And my mother, she added to it. Mother's always gonna give you emotional.
Mm-hmm.
Mother's gonna give you love.
Mm-hmm.
But your pops and some mothers gonna have that hard side too.
Mm-hmm.
So that way you can stand up to whatever your fear may be.
Mm-hmm.
So there came a point in my life where I had to teach myself how to be a man.
Mm-hmm.
So I had got into raising pit bulls.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to fight dogs. Sorry, I gotta say that.
Mm-hmm.
Not proud of that, but I'm just gonna bring that out. And I had this one dog that showed me at the age that I was how to really be a man. A cat could walk by my door, scratch it on the head, do whatever it want to do. My dog wouldn't do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But the minute that I moved a hand signal or something, she would tear the cat up. And I think a lot of these young guys should have dogs. DMX had a dog.
Mm-hmm. Boomer.
Exactly.
Rest in peace to Boomer and DMX.
Exactly. And that dog taught him how to be a man.
Mm-hmm.
Because he didn't really have nobody in his life like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the reason why I brought that up is because if a dog can have a level of discipline like that, why can't we? Why can't our young brothers do that?
It's not that they can't, is
we just
are they shown?
Mm-hmm. We're going through something. Now let me piggyback off of that. Domesticated dogs started off as wolves back in the day who were afraid of human beings. You know what I mean? Because we were hunting and we were killing them. So they had to come and they had to befriend us. And we befriended them because they would go off and hunt other animals to keep from being killed. So they were going through something at a point in time and they had to learn how to be man's best friend because they weren't. We are going through something as men, as people. We got to stay on each other's necks and say, listen, this is what we got to do. But we have to have understanding of our brothers are going through something. We got to have the hope that we're going to get there.
Yeah. Yes. And piggybacking off what you said, a woman can't show you how to be a man. A woman is going to tell you what a woman needs, like so you can be that man. You know what I'm saying? Like from her perspective, this is what a woman needs from a man. I'm not telling you how to be a man, but I'm going to tell you this is what a woman looks for, and this is what a woman needs in a man.
But absolutely. What? You got some women out there as tough as door now.
Yeah, but we made them like that though.
Yeah.
They wasn't probably always like that.
Yeah.
And
in hip hop, EVE called herself a pit bull in a skirt. To tie, like once again, to triangulate the conversation, to tie it into dogs and women in hip hop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Called herself a pit bull in a skirt.
Yeah.
So she was very influential to the culture.
Yeah.
So you had a lot of MC Light started coming up. Got a butt choke, gotta have a rough neck. You know what I mean? Yeah. She started rocking the baggy stuff or whatever have you. You know what I mean? So cultural. It's cultural. Going through something. So now we going through that balance of, do I go off the deep end and put myself out there where I'm looking like a Jezebel, or do I go towards this end where I'm truly looking like a queen? We're caught up. We're going through something as a people.
Yeah, well, you find your niche, you just work it. You know what I'm saying? Because
that's true.
Yeah,
that's just like it's just it's a whole lot like what was that situation that just happened not too long ago? All those people got killed at that concert.
Oh, you talking about the Travis Scott one?
Yeah. Now, with that situation right there, when I seen him singing while those people was dying in the audience, that was a prime example right there that we not ready. Because for him to still be singing while them people are dying like that, that's just another example.
We ready, not all of us, but we ready. You know, we got some dudes that's ready for the front line. That's ready to, you know what I'm saying? It's just again uniting,
right? And then a lot of those dudes know that they're not in search of attention. Yeah. You have a lot of people that they don't even know it, but they're seeking attention. So a lot of their energy is used towards that. Yeah. You got dudes who are standing ready to soldier up, who are not trying to seek the front lines. They're true soldiers. And a lot of guys out there now who are projecting themselves as being these masculine men but are too focused on getting the spotlight.
Yeah. But you know what? And I'm gonna just, in my thing like this, I'm gonna just say this. I think that you know, in spite of everything else that I said tonight, I think that we as a people, as a nation, forget about white, the black, and all that stuff, because you know, if you go and you need a body part or something, is he black that's gonna give it to me, or is he white? Which one is it? Nobody's gonna say that. I think that we all need to come together and get rid of these elite people that's causing all this drama, because they tearing a lot of people apart. These people are tearing a lot of people apart. There's broken homes, you know. There's something else that's happening. I can't mention it, but we all know what it is, you know. And this is happening because we as a people, you got some of the people that have a lot of money. They don't want to leave their money, so they're doing human trafficking. They're doing body snatching.
Yeah. So what's happening is nature always wins. And when we think about nature, sometimes we think about the 4 and 5 elements. You know what I mean? But nature is so much deeper than that. Nature is within our thought process and the way that we live. It needs us to live as a certain people so this earth can thrive. But so before this earth will get rid of itself, it'll get rid of us as human beings. So it's calling people out to live properly. So we can, it's happening right under our noses. We're watching the fall of a certain empire. You understand what I'm saying? It's happening. It's just not an overnight process. This thing is going to take 100 years, hundreds of years maybe, but it's happening right under our noses. If you pay attention to little intricacies, it's happening.
I'm gonna tell you the intricacies that we should have paid attention to. Cartoons. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna name some cartoons.
Movies. They put it in our face.
G.I. Joe had Cobra. It was always Cobra trying to get rid of the world. Transformers had Megatron. Spectre Gadget had Dr. Clark. Sonic had this other guy. I forgot who he was.
Yeah, all these cartoons.
Exactly.
You always gonna have enemies.
Exactly.
Of the state.
So my thing is, with these cartoons that you're talking about, you know, and I was thinking the same thing the other day when I was at one of the residencies that I work at and sitting with some of the clients and watching Roger Rabbit, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and I was thinking the same thing. Yeah. The only story that's ever being told with anything that you ever watch is the story of God and the devil, good and evil. That's the only story that's ever being told. In every movie, you got it in politics, everywhere. It's the only story that's ever being told. And what's happening is there's a war out for your energy. That's to take it to a deeper level. Oh, yeah. So what you watch is going to dictate what energy is up at the time. You know what I mean? What you ingest going back to diet is going to dictate what energy is up. That's different topics that we're going to delve into, you know, going forward. You know what I mean? I want to try to keep this on. Yes, how does that tie into hip hop? Because hip hop is a definite energy. And what it's being used for right now, a lot of it is negative.
Well, you know what? This is what I'm going to say. Because we had like I think this show went on for 2 hours.
Yeah, almost 2 hours. You know what I mean? We can wrap it up.
What I'm going to say is that pay attention to your circle before they hurt you. And be aware of your surroundings and never go outside without looking both ways. And when you go outside, make sure you have an umbrella at all times. Meaning, be on the lookout. And that's all I got.
Closing words.
Chris.
Cuzzo.
I like this saying, growing up is optional, growing old is mandatory. So we got choices. If we're gonna bring love back to the community, if we're gonna raise some men to be men, don't be afraid to find a little dude, soldier, whatever you want to call him in your neighborhood. And if he's raised in a single household, hey, me and my son going to a basketball game. Ask your mom, can you come along? Show him some ways. You never know what a kind smile and a kind word would do to somebody. He can grow up and be successful and be like, yo, man, I remember you took me to my first basketball game. I'm gonna look out for you. And that's all it takes. We think we got to give somebody $1,000, $1 million. We got to do this. No, man. Sometimes it's a kind word, a smile, a kind gesture. Sometimes it's shoveling your neighbor's sidewalk, taking out their garbage, mowing their lawn. It's something simple, man. We need to simplify things, man. We make things so difficult now that we overlook the simple things, man. We need to get back to love, basic love, and that's simple.
Yes, that's it, right?
Loving somebody is simple, man.
Yes, it is.
And I learned through the church back in the days, through the Bible, through God. You ain't gotta like everybody, but you gotta love everybody. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gotta like everybody, but you gotta love them. And that's go over some people's head, but it's so simple. It's really so simple.
It don't cost you no money.
And that's exactly. Love don't cost you nothing. But go ahead, cuz
so we're gonna wrap this thing up. And I know once again, like I said before, Chris is not just talking jive. Chris has always been that person to me within our family that has shown me a different way when I was a knucklehead and had everything placed in front of me that said, you know what, you can choose this and do the wrong thing. Chris was one of those significant people in my life that would take me out and show me the wrong way, even when he wasn't doing right. He wouldn't show it to me. You know what I mean? He wouldn't show it to me, even when he wasn't doing right. I was smart enough to know, Chris. Wow. But he ain't.
I ain't never bring it to him. Influence. No.
Never. But my favorite quote of all time, and especially now, is "My people will perish from a lack of knowledge." And I challenge everybody that's listening to this to go out there and truly break down the scientific definition of each word in that sentence. My people will perish from a lack of knowledge. You know what I mean? And that's what's happening to us now. If we allow people to tell us what we're supposed to learn, we're going to perish, because nature always wins. And the only thing that we're supposed to be adhering to is nature. That's why we're dying from sickness and all of the things that are going on right now, because we're not in adherence to nature. And that's the only knowledge that you truly need. With that being said, I thank you guys for tuning in to this edition. This is our second edition of the Project Mirror podcast.
More to come.
Definitely more to come.
We're going to have some guests too.
Absolutely some guests. Some guests that's going to, throw you over the edge with their wisdom and their knowledge. Shout out to my man Dog for allowing us into his studio. We upgraded super fast from the first one. You see how we do. We upgraded super fast on y'all. You know what I mean? And, shout out. And this is a part of the community. So I thank you once again, Dog. I thank you, Chris. You know what I mean? I came to Chris with this idea that I had just to start getting some stuff out as I delve into mental health counseling, as I delve into community outreach, and coming from where I come from, I'm like, yo, people need to hear certain things.
Into nutrition too.
I'm into nutrition. I'm into, different teachings about not only, like I said, the caloric intake, but what we take into our mind and our emotions and things of that nature. And I hit my cousin, we both love hip hop. So we was like, yo, let's just base it around this, but it's definitely going to delve off into other aspects and other things.
Yep.
But we thank you guys very much for tuning in. We hope that you tune into our next one where we will have some guests. Best believe we're going to get the young cats up here and start talking about the hip hop perspective from their perspective.
Yeah.
You best believe we're going to have from a woman's perspective, from the Hispanic culture, from the white culture, and then we're going to branch off and do other things as it pertains to Project Mirror. Thank you guys.
Have a good one. Not bad.
All right.